Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today, returning champion. What's up, Kurt?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm better. I'm not great yet physically. This fucking illness. I'm better every day, but man, today I've got this new thing where it hurts to like swallow, which is really a tough thing when you're a gay man. No, it's like, so now eating became like my mouth.
So all that you have left is the spitting. It's very sad.
Yep. I'm a quitter.
Yeah.
Perpetual quitter. But no, seriously, it's every day's better than the last, which is good because I'm hoping to just like keep streaming and not have to like go, oh, I'm sick again, because that sucks. But no, I think I'm in the clear. Just
Excellent.
Minor shit to deal with, but you know, that's just life. But man, it's been way too long.
Yeah, I'm not sure when I was last on your show. I'm not sure if I'm new to Houston relative to you or not. So anyways, for those of you who don't know, I moved to Houston. I got the new background, so I went for a cleaner look, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I thought it worked out pretty well. And I've been hitting the gym a lot more recently. I've been going, I think this is my like 6th week in a row for like 3 days every day at the gym. And I did a personal best where I did a 748-pound leg press.
Damn.
For reps. And so that was fun. I was doing 252-pound hack squats today. That was good. So making progress, making gains, getting those muscles. Woof.
That's trying too hard there, Kurt.
It feels positive though. It improves my mental health, and when number go up, it makes me feel like I've accomplished something. Number go up makes me feel validated. It's an endorphin rush. It's drugs for free.
No one realizes that video games were just invented by weightlifters. Like, oh yeah, the reward system is just the number gets bigger. It doesn't matter if anything else changes, like the number grows, therefore you feel good. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. I get that. That's Diablo in a nutshell. So wait, are you gonna get that big bicep flex? Like show it off?
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Let's see what I get.
Nice.
I could use more definition, but we'll one step at a time.
I can help you with that. You just have to do a bunch of heroin. See, because like I'm a noodle armed loser, but check this out. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
See, it comes through. Not that I did anything for it other than got rid of all of the, weight and calories and health in my entire life.
Yeah. So if I just lose 40% body fat, I can be like you.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Well, you know why I bring you on the show? Because I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. Like I do a channel that talks about stuff that's important, and I'm not good at that, but Kurt really is. Kurt knows important things.
There is a lot interesting happening at the Supreme Court right now. Of course, the big case with Trump's immunity is coming up pretty soon, so that's going to be exciting.
That's tomorrow, right? Oral on that tomorrow?
I believe it is. I believe it is tomorrow. So we're going to be covering that on my channel real soon.
So if you want to go watch Oral with Kurt.
Yeah. I give the best oral.
Are you listening live? Or are you listening to it like
I usually listen to it the next day so I can get the transcript and audio synced. It makes it a little bit easier to follow.
Okay. So you'll be doing that on Friday then?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I'm disappointed in you, Kurt.
Okay.
Because you're not going to see Stained on Friday.
All right. What is Stained?
How old are you?
I'm 43.
What? You really? I thought I was older than you.
I think you're younger than me, almost to the day.
Yeah, I am. I'm 42. I didn't think you were 43. You don't know what Stained is? Like Aaron Lewis, like, it's been a while since I said I'm sorry. That guy.
Okay. All right.
Do you know, like the 90s happened once?
They did. I was there.
You just weren't in the same place as Aaron Lewis from Stained.
All right. Fair enough.
No, I got a stupid notification, or not a notification. There's a news story. They have a couple of shows, and I was like, oh God, I want to go see Stained. Then there's one on Friday, and I was like, where's this? It was nowhere close. I couldn't make it.
Okay. Well, if you want to go to the concert together, let me know. I'll go with you.
You'll go with me to a concert? What kind of music do you
Sure.
listen to?
There's this one musician, Forrest Day. He's kind of like a rapper on the West Coast, I guess I'd describe him, that I kind of like. He's not really huge, but I'd like to go see him.
I've never heard of him. Is he a gentleman of Caucasian?
He is a white guy. Yeah.
White guy rapper.
I guess you describe him as a rapper. He has a very eclectic style of music, which I like. So he plays a lot of different styles of music, and I appreciate that.
I found this one song that I really like lately. It's 23 by a guy named Chase Beckham. He's a country guy, but the song's got like a real American blues like feel to it. It's cool.
Okay.
But I listened, like, Stained is right up my high school wheelhouse. So like that's and I've been on nostalgia trip, man.
Or we could go see some bluegrass together. That'd be badass.
I love bluegrass.
Yeah, so there you go.
Teddy Bear Revival is my favorite bluegrass song.
Okay.
It's about a kid doing like Pentecostal revivals with all his little teddy bears. He's the preacher saving all their souls. It's a good song.
There you go.
I don't know why it is. It's just bluegrass. But yeah, man, going to a concert would be fun sometimes. I love going to shows. Going anything live is good. Like, I don't have to like whatever the thing is, but if you go to it live, it's awesome. Like Torture and Executions and stuff.
That's one of the nice things about living in Austin, because you could just go up and down 6th Street and there were always musicians and acts playing. And so you could just pop your head into a bar and just listen to some pretty decent music. So it was nice. The
first time and last time someone randomly walked up to me to sell acid was in Austin on 6th Street. I was 17 and I was walking with my mother, my grandmother, and my sister. And this guy walks up to me, he's like, "Hey man, you want to buy some acid?" I'm like, "No, not really. Not from you. Not now. I'm surrounded by 3 generations of my family and they're all looking at me as if I caused this. And I definitely didn't do this. Like, I was a visitor to that humble town."
Yeah, you seem like more like a cocaine or meth guy with that stringy ass appearance. Although you have decent teeth, so there's that.
I do. I still have. Well, these are all fake teeth. I steal them from the homeless people.
Okay.
Yeah, when the meth knocks their teeth out, I grab them from the ground and shove them into my gums.
You're the tooth fairy, bitch. You're in here. It's payday.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Jim Orr says, posted a picture of a new brand Drexel whiskey over in Locals. Thought you might find it interesting and funny. Looking forward to the discussion with Kurt. Alma John says, "Kurt, does your progress at the gym mean you won't snap on Megan Fox again? Or does it mean that when you do, it'll be much more violent and awesome?"
More awesome, probably, yeah.
I look back on that. I know it's like this weird, tense situation. I look back on it, I'm like, this like Otto's own life. Like these fond times and simpler memories. And I'm like, wow, the drama was so straightforward back then. And it was
Get in the zone, Auto Zone.
Oh man. And it's like, now it's like, why everything now is serious. And this is just 2 people yelling over dating. Like, can't we do that again? That was funny to me, but then everybody got mad. Everybody's always mad about stuff, Kurt. Why are people upset all the time?
Well, in my particular case, it was because someone said something so inane, I lost IQ points.
I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking about then. I was talking about like now, like the normal thing. Because I get mad about little stuff that doesn't matter. That's the stuff that makes me most mad, right? Like if you go to order a burger. Oh, wait. Do you remember the U-gouge from Subway? The U-cut?
Oh, yeah. I missed that. Yeah, hardcore.
Okay, so here's what pisses me off. You're my age. You know about the U-gouge. I know a bunch of people do. But there was a time when I would be talking to people my age or even older. And I'd be like, you know what, the Subway, when they cut like the U thing out and they'd make it's like a boat instead of a bread taco. Bread tacos are stupid. Bread boats are awesome because you slather mayo down on the bottom like pitch. And then you layer in all the meat. And then that's like a boat that you dump in a salad on top of that, and then you put this little strip of bread on top, and you're like, oh, this is a sandwich, obviously. Like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then they get rid of it because Quiznos exists, and they're like, no, we want to toast our subs and cut them into bread tacos. And I'm like, but then no, this is dumb, because all the fillings come out the side. You get one bite that's all limp and pathetic like Prince, and then you get another bite that's all like meaty like Mike Tyson. I don't get why we would want to do that. And I'm like, do you guys remember the U-gouge? I'm talking about someone who's like, again, like a couple years older than me, and they're like, no. Subway always cut their bread like this. And all I want to do is
no,
kill
they didn't, bitch.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Yes. And I found evidence of it, Kurt. Happy Gilmore. I was watching Happy Gilmore the other day, and he gets to the part where he gets a Subway endorsement deal, and he's holding that sandwich, and it's a cold cut combo, not a cold cut trio, because suddenly Asians took over the marketing department in Subway and had to be more precise. Like, well, there's only 3 meats. We got to call it a trio. It's like, don't call it a trio, please. Call it a combo, because bologna itself is more than 3 meats. You can't call that a trio. You can't do that. Just call it a combo. Just cold cut combo. And he's like, this beautiful, delicious cold cut combo. And I'm looking at him like, that's the U-gouge. It's right there. It's on film. It's in front of me. And now I have a reference. Now I have a reference. Tom Colby says, now that's what I call a hole in one. Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So, seriously,
I like the white chip macadamia nuts at Subway. I think they make a really decent cookie.
They do. Yeah, no, those are great. I love that cookie. Big fan. But the sandwiches are my
now they have the new cookies, because I've been to Subway in a while, but they did a brand deal acquisition where they've got the foot long cookie now.
Yeah, that thing's weird.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I don't know. As I said, I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know.
I don't want to go to Subway and get a foot long cookie, but I might want to go to Subway and get a foot long cookie dough log that I can also eat. Like, and just don't put it in your little bakey thing. It's not an oven. It's not a microwave. It's some sort of new communism.
You put it into the bread shape, and you can stuff meat into it and stuff.
I don't want to put meat in a cookie. No, Kurt, there are limits. There are limits to what God wanted us to do.
if you're going to Subway, you're already forsaking God anyway. So I don't know what we're talking about.
You think God's like, Adam, I need you to name all these fucking animals. And he's like, okay, that's like a whale. That's a whale. That's a whale. It's like, stop just talking to women. Adam, I need you over here naming animals. He's like, okay, well, that one's a dolphin. That one's a stingray. And he's like, okay, now this is cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough. Adam, do you see this? And he's like, yeah. He's like, look, I'm going to give this to you, but you got to be responsible. Not like the fucking apple tree told you not to eat from, and you listen to that whale over there. No, I'm going to give you this cookie dough, and this is going to be the greatest thing that you could have. But if you put meat in it, I'm going to kill you. Like now, twice. I'll bring you back. I'll kill your ass again. I'll make you look at that meat stuffed cookie dough, and I'll kill you again, Adam, you idiot. That's what God said. I was there.
Okay.
You got to be responsible with cookie dough, Kurt. You said you could make it into a bread shape and like put stuff on it. Don't do that with cookie dough. When are you going to put lettuce on cookie dough? Are you vegan?
At the Subway, I guess. I mean, why not just get all your flavors all in one thing? There's no rules or sanity. Get some bacon on there. Put some bacon in between your cookie dough.
You can put bacon. You can put bacon in a cookie because bacon is salty and delicious. Salt goes with chocolate chips. You can put like big chunks of sea salt. Coarse sea salt goes on chocolate chip cookies like like, oh God, like racism. Never mind. Look, It just does.
That's one place to take this thing.
Oh, Kurt, my brain vetoed several other ideas before I landed on it goes on it like racism. So just know what was happening. No, but if you put bacon chunks in chocolate chip cookies or chocolate chunk cookies, that's good. Like that'll be good.
I would appreciate it if you don't get me canceled. So if you want to say things preferably when I'm not on with you, it would be great.
Well, okay, look, no, it's like yes.
Yeah.
Coarse ground sea salt goes on chocolate chip cookies like racism goes on the chopping block of history. There
you go. Sure, that works.
It didn't.
That's definitely where you were going with that.
It didn't go on the chopping block of history, but sea salt does go on those cookies, like it does.
Okay.
Speaking of which, big shout out to Pizzeria Lola in Minneapolis. If you ever are in Minneapolis and you want a Korean-owned pizza with a French-style oven, ignore the pizza. Just get the fucking chocolate chunk cookies that are fresh baked in the giant French copper oven that they dump sea salt all over, and they give you a little glass of milk. It's delicious. They also have a blood orange sorbet that is to die for. Their pizza's good too, but anyway, why are we talking about food, Kurt? What did you do to me?
I don't know.
Well, I brought you on to talk about law, not food. There's lots going on in the Supreme Court.
There is a lot going on in the Supreme Court. There's a lot going on right now. I was doing oral argument reviews recently. No, I was just saying I was doing oral argument reviews. I did one with Andrea Burkhart recently.
Oh, she's awesome.
She is on ineffective assistance of counsel, which of course is right of her expertise because she does criminal appeals. So
also, it's not my expertise area of expertise, but for completely different reasons that we won't discuss.
Is it because you're inadequate?
Ouch. Ouch, Kurt.
Okay.
It hurts me. No, actually, I've just been encountering it. Like in my non-practice, I've been encountering ineffective assistance of counsel lately, like the actual kind. I'm like, oh my God. And it's not even me doing it, which is worse.
You know, typically I like it when my attorney actually shows up to court, Nick.
Okay, Kurt. Yeah, that's funny. You know what? I'm gonna vomit into an envelope and mail it to you.
Okay.
How's that? No, I was talking about something else. But so the Supreme Court stuff is great. Trump's missing documents case has finally kicked off. Alvin Bragg, who bragged about bringing Trump to court, is the guy who, like, he's doing this for the 2016 election. This is that old of a case. And they're like, it's now going to trial shockingly right during election season. Isn't that amazing?
What are the odds? Just like the one in New York with the misdemeanors that we somehow magically turned into felonies. That's also it's also at trial right now as we speak.
And I was reading, I might want to go through this article with you. I was reading it was a CNN, or where was this from? I hate every publication that exists. Instagram, stop showing me pictures of women and give me my fucking messages. Hold on. I can't remember what publication it was, but it was like all your questions about the Trump missing documents trial answered. And the guy, the analyst, I think it was CNN. Yeah. Was like right up front. He's like, well, this case isn't about interference in the 2016 election, but they want you to think it is. Like Alvin Bragg wants the jury to think it is because that sounds nefarious, but paying off a washed up whore doesn't sound as nefarious as like trying to interfere in the 2016 election. So the prosecutors haven't charged Trump with falsifying business records to interfere with an election. They've charged Trump with falsifying business records for other purposes, but they're trying to like make this loose brain connection for the jury. Cause they're like, look, they know that if they stand there and be like, well, you see, Trump had sex with a porn star. And then she was like about to blab about it. And he's like, hey, I don't want you to talk about that right now. Can I give you like a little money? You and I can agree. Like you don't talk about our sexual encounters, which never occurred. Have you seen Melania? Have you seen you? Comparable maybe in your prime versus her prime, but not now. Have you seen
her prime was pretty damn good.
Exactly. And so he's like, so we're not going to talk about that anymore. Now I'll give you like a couple dollars because I know you can't do any work anymore. OnlyFans isn't really big yet. And so he does that. And like the jury's going to be like, so wait, he paid Stormy Daniels to not talk about sex with him? Like, is that really that big of a deal? It's not. Like, actually, it's perfectly legal. That's the crazy thing. The way they make it illegal is by trying to say that he's like asserting this for tax purposes or improper business expenses or whatever, but it's not a campaign finance expense.
Yeah. No, they're trying to get him a falsification of business records because, for example, when he paid off Stormy Daniels, the idea is that he listed it as legal expenses because Cohen paid Daniels and then he compensated back Cohen. And so he listed it as essentially attorney's expenses when it wasn't. It was for, I would have listed it for a settlement. And because I put the wrong label on it on the books, that makes it a crime because I've committed fraud on the books, which in and
Maybe
of itself is a misdemeanor. And
But
then we're trying to leverage essentially a federal thing to try to get into some sort of
felony charge.
felony that doesn't really make sense, but whatever.
But it doesn't even make sense as a misdemeanor because it's a misclassification of a business expense that would still be a valid business expense. Because if the Trump organization benefits from him not having Stormy Daniels talk about this just as much as the Trump campaign or Donald Trump personally. So as long as it is a valid business expense, the fact that he paid it as a legal fee to Michael Cohen versus categorizing it as a legal expense related to the essential nature and function of the business, like those are both perfect. They're the same exact deduction. Practically, it's just a label error. So you would say, well, this is like a scrivener's error that could be corrected with an amended return. Like it's something that would be fixed in any other case with a talk with the IRS that, like, sorry, we'll get this fixed up. Or well, I guess with the New York Department of Revenue. And you go, okay, we'll get this fixed up. We'll get it recategorized if you want. Like, or do you guys just want a letter that says, sorry, my accountant mislabeled this. Can you just go ahead and like understand that this is the same fucking thing? It's still a valid deduction. You just put it in the wrong fucking box. Yeah. Like that's not a problem. Like everybody thinks taxes are this super rigid thing that happens because for a lot of people, it comes across that way because people's lives are very basic. But when you get into business ownership, when you get into itemized deductions, when you get into like especially having multiple tiers of people beneath you categorizing and doing all this stuff in these really complicated returns, like they're never this concrete, straightforward thing with answers.
It's been said that there's not a man on this earth or a woman in this country who can say with complete confidence that they've complied with the Internal Revenue Code. I mean, I just did my personal taxes last year. I used an accountant, and I'm still not 100% sure that I complied with the IRS. I mean, I certainly tried to comply, but if did I get it 100% right? I don't know, and my taxes aren't exactly that complicated. And to be able to get your taxes completely right is it's just not going to happen, especially if you're running a massive organization. Every jot and tittle of the books is going to be perfect. Good luck.
Well, the funny thing is, like, even as far as what was it, 2022, when they leaked all of Trump's tax documents, the most recent they had was a proposed 2020 tax return for Trump Industries, because the returns for the Trump business empire is so fucking complicated that they just don't get them done. And the IRS doesn't really care, and the state revenue departments don't really care, as long as there's an ongoing discussion, there's good faith efforts being made. Like, they know that these things don't come through, the numbers aren't always ready. Things, especially when you got like look back periods and look forward periods with depreciating assets, like there's no way that like you know 100% what you're doing yet. And so like they're accustomed to this stuff, and like you said, you don't know if you've even complied. The worst part is if you called the IRS right now and got a senior agent on the phone and went through your entire return with them, they probably couldn't tell you if you complied either.
Yeah,
that's insane.
True. That's 100% true.
It's like a cop at a Denny's.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know if he ordered the right thing.
What the hell kind of analogy is that?
Have you ever been to Denny's with a cop, Kurt?
I suppose I have, but I haven't really noticed them struggling about whether or not what to order, especially.
The next time you're at Denny's with a cop and he orders, are you sure you know what you just ordered? Just ask him. They don't.
What the hell are you talking about?
What do you mean with that? I thought you said... I think you maybe haven't been to Denny's with a cop.
You think that cops have a particularly difficult time remembering what they ordered at
I didn't
Denny's?
say remembering what they ordered. I said understanding what they're ordering at Denny's. And you could have stopped at particularly difficult time. Are you saying that cops have a particularly difficult time? Yes.
Okay. I have no idea. If there's a joke in here, it has gone way past me. So I have no idea what
There's
we're
no
talking
joke
about.
here, Kurt.
Okay.
When was the last time you went to a Denny's?
I usually prefer to go to Waffle House or IHOP. Denny's would be like my third choice.
Right. So when was the last time you went, Kurt?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. You didn't recognize Stained earlier, but now you're quoting them. How much is a while? Like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Sure.
Last time you went to Denny's, were you sure what you ordered?
I was pretty confident, yes.
Were you confident that your waiter knew what you ordered?
Seeing as they gave me what I ordered, yes.
Oh, wow. But before it came out, it was Schrodinger's order, right? You're like, moons over my hammy. That's what I ordered. And you're like, but I don't know if I'm going to get moons over my hammy or if I'm going to get a weird like eggs Benedict with a bacon piece shoved through it and like one piece of toast half eaten from the cat. You don't know because it's Denny's. Nobody knows at Denny's, Kurt.
Okay.
I hate Denny's.
I would agree that it's not one of my favorite places to eat, hence why I'd prefer to eat at a Waffle House or an IHOP or a Cracker Barrel.
Why would you prefer to eat at a Waffle House, an IHOP, or a Cracker Barrel over Denny's, Kurt? Why would that be?
Because it's a better experience.
Because you have no confidence that when you order at Denny's that you're going to get something that matches the quality of the thing you're expecting, right?
The quality of the experience has been lackluster at Denny's in my past experiences compared to those three.
What you just said is what I just said earlier, except I inserted the word comp.
Not being disappointed about the quality is not the same thing as being confused about what I ordered.
When you were disappointed with the quality and what you got from Denny's, were you confused about what you ordered? Like, I thought I was ordering something good. Turns out I was ordering Slayton bullshit.
Are you sure that you're still not having a fever dream?
I'm 100% sure, Kurt. The funny thing is, I'm much more sure of what I'm saying now than you are sure of what you would get when you order at Denny's.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just picking on you. Shy says Robert Gouveia gives good oral too, Kurt. Gouveia is awesome. Love that guy. Isaac Vanderbilt says, dude named his ass the bread bowl. Sunderwear says, I ate a whole tube of raw cookie dough in middle school and was spewing from both ends for days. Good times. Have you ever gotten sick from eating cookie dough, Kurt? I've not.
I can't remember specifically getting sick from cookie dough.
Because, like, actually one of the most offensive things I see on any packaged stuff in a grocery store now is, like, safe to eat cookie dough. I'm like, you just described cookie dough. Like, cookie dough is safe to eat. And they're like, but there's no eggs in this one. I'm like, that doesn't make it particularly safe to eat. And eggs in cookie dough doesn't make it unsafe to eat. Eggs in cookie dough is unsafe to eat if you leave it, like, on a counter for 4 days. Like, because then you want to die. But if you just eat raw cookie dough with eggs in it, guess what? You don't die. That's medical advice.
So about the United States Supreme Court, there's some pretty interesting cases going on with some pretty interesting oral arguments that
the FDA would like to know your location. Shut Up, I Can Cook says, Kurt, isn't this tax stuff unconstitutional unless the states are doing it?
No.
Can you explain the constitutionality of the income tax?
Yeah, the 16th Amendment says that you can have an income tax.
The 16th Amendment was before women could vote too.
This is true.
That's not even good. Guys, that was us. That's all on us. Probably our wives nagging us, but that was on us. We don't get to blame anybody except women. Lorgar apologist says, stop drinking, seek help, apologize to your wife. I got to apologize to her? Oh my God, what a disaster that'll be. What do I apologize to her for? Drinking? Why? Because she doesn't get as much? Rude. Very rude. What do we got here? Kaufman 921. Nick and Kurt, two of my favorite lawmen. One of my life goals is to listen to a legal debate with Aussie and Vices. And oh my God. And I will buy you all drinks. Hope you gentlemen are doing well. Wait a minute. No, Kurt, I like this deal. This is the best deal I've heard of. Let's lawyer this thing down. Life
Okay.
goals is to listen to a legal debate with Aussie and Vices. So Aussie and Vices have a legal debate, and this person will buy all of us drinks. So you and I get to just hang out. Aussie and Vices do the legal debate. We all drink, and that's that. That sounds like a good deal, right?
What would they be debating about? Because Aussie's knowledge and Legal Vice's knowledge are completely different because they are from different countries.
They're both from outside of the United States. So what they would debate is bullshit, Kurt.
Legal Vices happens to be out of the United States, but he's from the United States.
Yeah, but he practices in Korea. The last person to practice in Korea was the bayonet user who was on their way to Japan. It's like when they say to always shoot at a silhouette target instead of like a circular target. That was a really deep joke. It was really offensive and highly racist. I hope everybody caught it. And also the Koreans are probably really offended that I compared them to the Japanese in that way. But you know what I don't care about is Korean opinions because I don't eat kimchi. Fuck you guys. You ever eat kimchi, Kurt? Fermented cabbage paste.
I don't know. The last time I went to the kimchi place, I wasn't sure about what I ordered.
You went to a kimchi place? You're in Houston. There probably is one. Oh, dude. I don't know where in Houston you are.
And the joke goes completely over Nick's head.
No,
moving on.
It didn't go over my head. I loved it, actually. But I was just letting it like slide into my eyeballs. I don't know where in Houston you are, Kurt. Houston's one of my favorite cities on earth. Like, unironically, you know I was born there. Wait, what quadrant of Houston are you in?
I'm in Northwest near Katy. I'm on the I-10.
Okay, so you're near Katy. Okay. Are you near Killen's?
I don't know.
Killen's Barbecue, I think, is Southwest. Okay, wait. I-10. Northwest Houston. Dude, you got to find a Best Donuts. There's a Best Donuts, I think, at 290 and I-10.
There's a Voodoo Donuts pretty near my place.
No. Don't go to Voodoo Donuts. Voodoo Donuts is bullshit, Austin garbage. God damn it. Kurt, that's like saying, oh, Gordo's has good donuts. No, Gordo's has good desserts that they call donuts, but good donuts, Best Donuts in Houston. I'm pretty sure near you. I-10 and 290, go to Best Donuts. Just get some glazed, buddy. They're the best. They're literally the best glazed donuts that exist.
Well, I mean, they would have to be literally the best glazed.
That's why they call them best.
Yeah.
Some Asian was like, I make a donut shop. It's called Best Donut. I make Best Donut. Yeah. And that's what happened. That's
okay.
Try and find a Houston donut shop that isn't run by a Vietnamese guy. Enslaving several Vietnamese trafficked women. That's the only reason I eat donuts in Houston is because I only want my donuts to be powered by the love of human trafficking.
You only eat, because the human trafficking is what makes it sweeter.
Yes, because their sadness makes it better tasting. Kurt, have you had a Minnesota donut? Next time
not as good because less human trafficking?
Well, no, but Somalis don't own donut shops, so yes, less human trafficking. Because in Minnesota, that's who gets human trafficked, right? This is actually a really sad thing. Somali children and Mexican children. Oh, and one Chinese woman who was trafficked into massage therapy here in my hometown.
I'm going to go with the bold proposition that all trafficking is bad.
No, it is. It is. Don't get me wrong. Yes, trafficking is bad, blah, 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 blah. No, Kurt, this story was funny because of this, okay? So a random cell phone call to the Wilmer police here from a massage parlor called Asian Massage.
What the fuck kind of show have I joined?
No. This is a news story that happened within the past 2 months.
All right. Okay, carry on.
I've never been to this Asian massage parlor. I swear. I didn't even know it was there. It's over by the fucking the Restore store, it's like a hardware store, but of donated hardware. I don't know. Anyway, it's this weird and by like a vision place, like a Vision Works. There's this Asian massage place, and they get a distressed cell phone call from a number they don't recognize. And this woman is like, I've been trafficked. I've been locked up in this room at this massage place. And they show up and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? And the owner comes out, and I think it's a guy, but the names are vague. So I don't know from the news story if it was a guy or a woman. they're like, yeah, this one massage therapist of yours is complaining that you've got her locked in a back room and you won't even let her eat like food or anything or have water. You just tell her that she needs to come out and service customers. And if she says no to happy endings, you hit her and stuff. And he's like, no, I show you video. I show you. She was bad worker, not good worker. So I hit her. I show you the video. And he shows the cops a video
That's
of
great.
him beating the human trafficking victim.
That's great.
Because like, I didn't traffic her. I just hit her. And the cops are like, you're under arrest a lot. And then they, of course, search the place and they find a bunch of like burner cell phones in this back room where this poor person was locked up for 5 days without food or water and no place to go. And they have like this little pissy cot that they have to sleep on. And then they find out all the details. Like they hooked up with some company in California where this person flew in from China into some city in California. And then this massage parlor owner paid half of the expense and the other person paid half the expense to bring this person here to Wilmer, Minnesota. And they would pay it off in hand jobs on the massage table, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the agreement. But this girl was not in. She's like, I didn't think I was doing hand jobs. I thought I was doing massage therapy. Like I'm like an actual masseuse, not like a hostess. And this guy's like, no, you hostess. And he's beating her. And then he's showing the video of the cops. And he's like, this should be fine.
That's illegal on multiple different levels.
I know. It's the funniest fucking story. And it was true. And I was like, God, I wish I had known that this place existed so I could have not gone there intentionally rather than just incidentally.
Or even better, perhaps you could have alerted the police because in this hypothetical, this place is engaging in that behavior.
I don't talk to cops.
Help stop it.
I don't talk to cops, Kurt. Like what you say is noble and good, but I don't talk to cops. Fuck that. What am I, some kind of snitch?
For the human trafficking, yes.
Have you considered, though, that person might be cooking my lo mein later? Anyway, I don't know. Look, you're in Northwest Houston. You've got to go to Auntie Chang's Dumpling House.
Does that have the human trafficking?
No, it doesn't have human trafficking, but they have a fucking banger vegetable steamed dumpling. And they have minced jalapeno, minced garlic, and soy sauce. And you just mix up that jalapeno, garlic, and soy sauce. And you can get ginger too. And you can mix all that up and then put that in the dumplings, the vegetable dumplings. Great. One of my favorite places in Houston to eat. No human trafficking detected.
I will try the non-human trafficking place. That sounds fine.
Isaac Vanderbilt says Jesse Waters and Glenn Beck. Who the fuck are Jesse Waters and Glenn? Wait, is that supposed to be us too? Are we supposed to be like Jesse? Are we like the wish.com version of Jesse Waters and Glenn Beck? Shut Up, Biden Cook says, okay, Kurt, so all these federal and state taxes are constitutional. Thus, we can't complain anymore. No, you can always complain. That's participatory government. You always get to complain. Right? Am I wrong?
The First Amendment allows you to complain.
Yeah, literally the redress of grievances is part of the First Amendment.
It is a specific First Amendment right in addition to freedom of speech. Well spotted. Yes, you have the specific First Amendment right to complain about the taxes. It's a separate First Amendment right. So there you go. Nice. Thank you for educating us all.
Yes. I slide them in there sometimes. Everybody forgets that part of the First Amendment is that you have the right to petition your government for the redress of grievances.
There are 5 First Amendment rights. Can you name them, please?
You got the freedom of the right to free speech. You've got the freedom of religion. Wait, are you counting religion as 2?
No, religion is 1 for the purpose of this exercise.
Okay, then you got the free press, free assembly, and then of course redress of grievances, petition.
There you go. There you go.
Of course I can, Kurt. Kurt, I'm a sleeper con law expert. Okay. You're like a bold, robust, in your face con law expert, and I respect this shit. People don't know this. Like, I want to say this without any jokes or goofiness. Guys, if I have a constitutional question, especially in regards to constitutional rights and the Bill of Rights and stuff, I go to Kurt because I know me. Like, I'm a libertarian. I'm anti-authoritarian. I'm freedom motherfucker. I know Kurt will not take like he has his opinions on what things should be. but he will give you an unbiased and solid answer based on not only what the Constitution says, but the existing jurisprudence around it. And he knows it better than goddamn anybody I've ever met. And
Well,
it's
thank you. I do
stupid.
appreciate that. That's very kind of you.
And I hope that our discussions always make you go, oh yeah, Nick actually does know a little bit about this sometimes, because I like to be the sleeper con law guy who goes, but what about this? What about this? People are like, oh wait, I thought you were just drinking during that class. Like, nope, that was water. Real Patriots Party says, for Kurt, cops don't order to eat. They order to fill a check mark while waiting for that one call that will catapult them to sergeant. Cops are retarded like that. And never go to Denny's, Kurt. Never go to Denny's, Kurt.
I think cops probably eat.
No, but they're saying they don't order to eat. They order and they eat the food, but they don't order for the food. They order to create an opportunity to wait, is what they're saying. They order to fill time, so to speak. They'll eat it. That's why they're big. Kaufman 921 says, I meant to say all four of you have a legal debate. Oh, so you, me, Vices, and Aussie all have a legal debate on literally anything you all find interesting. I just want to listen and I will buy the drinks. You guys can buy your own food. Very presumptuous of you to say we could buy our own food. Oh my God. Legal Vices. Oh shit. He says, I'm a lawyer. I'm in Korea. I practice law. I'm not licensed in Korean. I do not practice law in Korean courts. I do not directly give legal advice about Korean law. Hey, Legal Vices. Hana dul setnet. Dasam yasa yudul. I have yul. Upchugi. Upsugi. Kumsamnida.
Why do I hang around you?
Myonghamnida. I don't know. My Korean's probably the pronunciation is bad, but I basically said women are terrible. Okay, let's get in this first one. I didn't say that at all. Do you want to talk about? Okay, I'm going to give you dealer's choice on this one. Do we want to talk about Trump's immunity claims to the Supreme Court, or do we want to talk about the fact that Texas Appeals Court has rejected the ethics complaints against Sidney Powell?
I hadn't heard about that one.
Should we pull this up real quick? This is cool.
Sure. Enlighten me about what's happening with Sidney Powell and the ethics complaints.
Okay, so if people don't know about this, if you did anything in regards to the 2020 election,
yes,
on behalf of Donald Trump, your career is on a fucking butcher
Linwood,
block.
Sidney Powell, and Rudy Giuliani as the trifecta of people who did legally questionable and ethically questionable things.
Without mentioning Linwood, Sidney Powell, one of her Kraken lawsuits, I didn't know at the time until I read it at the time it was filed, was one of the most offensively ill-conceived things I've ever seen. It was the one she filed in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the counties that she listed in Michigan with voter disparities from the population of the county versus the vote outcomes were Minnesota counties. They're Minnesota counties. They were not Michigan counties. So in the Michigan lawsuit, she cited the number that they had for each county in Michigan. And then she showed the actual county results by name, and the counties were Minnesota counties. I couldn't believe it when I first saw it, because I thought that this was such a sloppy fucking piece of lawyering that it couldn't have happened. But I recognized all these county names. I was like, wait, does Michigan have a Dakota County, a Scott County, a Dakota County, or a Candy Ojai County? And Candy Ojai County is where I currently live. Very specific Native American name. And I'm like, I guess in theory, there could be a tribe in Michigan that has a Candy Ojai, a similar name. So maybe, and I started looking, I'm like, oh no, these are all just Minnesota counties. No wonder there's a disparity in vote outcomes between the county numbers that she's using, because she's comparing the numbers that they use for each county, but in two different states. Obviously, you're going to get disparate outcomes because those counties aren't going to have the same population numbers in each state.
Yeah, if there is the same county name might exist in more than one state, and it will be very helpful if you remember what state you're looking at.
But
For example, you're in Orange County. Okay, or am I in California or am I in Virginia? Those are two different places.
Very importantly, there is no Dakota County, Michigan. There is no Candy, Ohio County, Michigan.
That would make the numbers very disparate.
Yeah, they're very obvious problems with the evidence that was filed in this Kraken lawsuit to overturn Michigan.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. But if you're someone in like Washington State or Idaho or something, and you have no familiarity with Michigan or Minnesota, you wouldn't have any reason to think that these.
It would be helpful if you remember that Minnesota and Michigan are in fact two different states. They might
Right,
both start with an M.
Right, but
you
seriously, like Kurt, if I started listing off counties from Minnesota, it was like Michigan County of what do we got? Stearns County, McLeod County, Michigan. You'd be like, okay, fine, like whatever. If you don't know that there isn't a Stearns County, Michigan, or McLeod County, Michigan, those are Minnesota County. Like if you don't know because you've never been to Michigan, you don't give a shit about Michigan because who does? Like you just be like, okay, fine, right? So if you're a normal person who doesn't live in Michigan or Minnesota, and you're
But
seeing
why
this
would I
list,
think there is? Because if I'm looking at election returns, the election returns are going to provide exactly.
but that's the thing, right?
Are.
That's the duty of candor to the court, and that's why we have an ethical obligation. So Sidney Powell files a document and says, look, Stearns County, Michigan had this many expected votes and had this many actual votes, which is higher or lower, whatever it was. And that's a disparity. And you're like, well, that sounds fucking weird because you've never been to Michigan. You have no idea that there's no such thing as a Stearns County, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Why would you? You live in Arizona. You've never been to Michigan in your life. In fact, the last thing you heard about Michigan was that it's cold. And why would I go there? But this is why we have a duty of candor to the court. We have a duty of, I guess, research and proper preparation. And that's why this is an ethical responsibility, is because if I'm going to present to the court these facts in a federal court, they better be the fucking right facts, especially if it's going to be publicly accessible.
The county existing would be a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Sidney Powell does this. And in my opinion, Sidney Powell files one of the most egregious documents. Just that's the only one I've looked at. And I was like, holy shit, that document alone, that complaint in Michigan federal court is almost enough to disbar an attorney forever. Like if it's not, I'm surprised. Now here's the crazy thing. A bunch of other Trump attorneys or attorneys on behalf of Trump in 2020 did shit that's way less. And they actually got disbarred. And I'm like, well, that wasn't disbarable. Sidney Powell, I'm like, you know what? That one filing was really fucking bad. I don't know how she fucked that up. Maybe she should have like blamed an assistant or something and said, hey, I'm sorry. But I thought she should have been disbarred maybe over that. But instead, Texas appeals court sides with Sidney Powell, rejecting attorney discipline over her Trump election lawsuits. This is the most encouraging news I've received, even though I think she was one of the most deserving people of discipline in this whole thing, not because she was just on Trump's side, but because her behavior was unbecoming of an attorney. Like it was actually violating the ethics. Like I was like, wow, she'll get disciplined, but other people I didn't think should necessarily. But she's the one who escapes it. Appeals court in Texas ruled in favor of Sidney Powell last week, holding a state court judge's ruling that tossed out an attorney discipline petition against the lawyer for her involvement in former President Donald Trump's election reversal efforts. Powell stands out as a Trump-aligned attorney who has so far been able to defeat the professional misconduct allegations that have been brought against several others who assisted Trump in his schemes to overturn the 2020 electoral laws. I really actually hate the way they get to announce this. Does that bother you? The way the media frames this always as Trump's scheme to overturn his electoral laws? Because I don't think any of this was actually a scheme to overturn an electoral laws. Do you? Like, how do you regard that?
Well, I think a lot of it, I mean, I just remember reading like most of the complaints were just complete garbage. I think I read like about half the election complaints that were filed, and they were almost universally just absolute garbage.
But garbage or no garbage, why were they garbage though? Standing issues usually?
And also because a lot of them were just based on wishes and dreams as opposed to any sort of solid basis.
Okay, but lawyers who file lawsuits based on wishes and dreams, should they be disbarred though? Because like that happens all the time, like literally constantly. Lawyers take on a client, they file something, they're like, look, you don't really have a chance. I can try and construct an argument. We can pitch a novel legal theory. Likely the judge is going to say, fuck you, you guys lose. But like, if that's what you want to do, you want to pay me for it, we can try it. Should those lawyers be disbarred for trying to represent the interests of their client, or even the interests of not only their client, but like, because a lot of these lawyers weren't hired by Trump. So let's say they're not trying to, affect the interests of the client, but they're trying to affect the interests of maybe a movement that they believe in.
Well, if there's a non-frivolous argument, I think that's the key. And some of these arguments were pretty frivolous, and they got no good faith basis to bring them.
No good faith basis? None?
In some situations, I felt that they were.
See, I think Sidney Powell's was no good faith basis because she picked counties from a different state. So she had bad data, right?
Yeah.
What can you give me? Like, I've not reviewed all these, obviously.
Yeah.
But can you give me any? I know this. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But
from like 4 years ago at this point.
I know it's fucking hard. And that what's that cunt's name? The guy who the Democrat guy who actually did get fucking disciplined because he's such a piece of shit, but he ran their entire defensive strategy. He worked for that big company, Perkins Coie. The guy who ran their entire election defense. Do you remember that guy's name? God, he was such a cockbag. But can you think of any like specifics on no legally tenable argument?
It was just like facts that were unsupported, like with like the dead electors, or the numbers were just completely unsupported.
Mark Elias. Oh, that guy. I fucking hate Mark Elias.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and I remember one that was also similar, where it was Detroit, because in the election returns, they reported the numbers differently for Detroit versus the rest of the state. So, because they reported I forget what it was exactly, because they reported the absentee numbers somewhere differently for Detroit, because when you looked at the numbers initially for like all the Detroit counties, it showed like 0 absentee ballots for like every Detroit county, which by its way should have itself been a clue, right? Because like, why would it say 0 for absentee for every single Detroit county? And for some reason, because for every other county, they reported them as part of the same number. So they would have like live votes, absentee votes, whatever. They would all be in the same place. But for Detroit, it said 0 for absentee, because for some reason for Detroit, they reported it like 10 pages down for some reason that I can't understand, but it's like the fact that it was 0 should be a clue. But people were being like, oh my God, they're all 0, as opposed to saying themselves, sanity check. Maybe I should see if I'm misunderstanding the numbers.
Yeah, it's but are you misunderstanding the numbers, right? Like, should you have to this is a legitimate question of a government function of arguably one of the most important factors of our republic, right? Like, we're electing king for the next 4 years. And so we go, well, but Detroit's like, well, they reported 0 absentee ballots. Like, you just got to read down because it's Detroit. Those guys, there's a reason maybe they couldn't fucking figure out how to fill out their own forms. Shouldn't we go to the government and be like, wait, you guys couldn't figure out your own form? Maybe you do have a cognizable argument. Why does the government win on that? Like, just because, we reported it 10 pages down, but not in the form that says absentee ballots. Like, why do we just go ahead and then say, well, you know what? They're probably right, though. To me, that's a colorable claim, even if you're wrong. They can provide the data. They can like, look, we hired urban youths to fill in the data, and they don't know how to use keyboards. Sorry. So they put it down in the wrong field, and here's why. But then they have to explain it, right? Like, the government then has to come out and say, we explained why we were wrong. It's reasonable for you to question why we were wrong. Like, you should have figured it out because it was all zeros. Like, no, you should have gotten it right because you're the goddamn government and it's your fucking form. Like, we don't have any way to influence this, right? Like, shouldn't we say that at some point?
In any event, I thought that it left something to be desired on the claims.
I think there's plenty to be desired on the overwhelming majority of claims. I'm not opposed to you in that. I just don't know that disbarable is the way to go after this shit, because I've seen a bunch of shit that would be disbarable in that circumstance.
I wouldn't necessarily say for any one of them. I think that that's fair. I think that it just became, it was more in the accumulation. I can't speak for any one of the attorneys off the top of my head, because again, I'm going back 4 years to try to remember who filed exactly what. But, you know, there was a point where things got a little ridiculous and things became untenable, and they continued to persist past that point. So
like
there were definitely some problems.
I had huge problems with Linwood in general, but I don't think that I thought his lawsuits amounted to frivolity, but I don't think they should have been, because I have problems with federal standing requirements. I really do.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
And so, like, we've talked about this. We don't have to like rehash it too much, but I think that it is reasonable for an attorney to say that, look, here's the thing. And the way that the courts have looked at federal standing requirements is absolutely wrong. And maybe we shouldn't look at them this way for this reason, for this case, for this test case, or whatever. And that's how you do change law, like, over time, right? Is you go, here's a case to show that the existing jurisprudence doesn't work sometimes, and maybe we need to rethink it, right? Like, that's how Roe was defeated eventually. And so I don't have a problem with Linwood making cases that would be thrown, because when I read them, I'm like, this is going to get thrown out for standing. I don't agree with the federal standing requirements, but these are the federal standing requirements. And I find it interesting that all states go on just fine without those federal standing requirements. That's the thing that really gets me. It's like, oh, we have to have these federal standing requirements. Otherwise, how could law even occur? It's like, well, the states don't have them at all. But here we go. However, Powell did plead guilty in the criminal prosecution brought by the Fulton County District Attorney for the election subversion plots in Georgia. See, this is the thing that drives me fucking crazy. Someone pleading guilty to a crime doesn't admit to unethical behavior necessarily, but they want them to. In the attorney ethics matter, a Texas appellate court said in its ruling this month that the Texas Bar's Commission for Lawyer Discipline, which brought the petition against Powell, failed to show how she engaged in dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation in lawsuit she filed challenging Trump's loss. I feel like I could have done this for them if they asked me. Powell is licensed in Texas, and the commission had asked the courts to find her in violation of the professional code for attorneys in the states. We're troubled by the bar's implicit suggestion that application of the ordinary meaning of the term dishonesty means the quote disciplinary rule, or means the disciplinary rule encompasses imprecise pleadings and carelessly filed exhibits. Okay, like, what do you say about that? Like, an imprecise pleading and carelessly filed exhibit. She used the counties from Minnesota to say that the Michigan counties were wrong.
Yeah, I mean, without looking at the particulars, I'm loath to challenge it. I mean, I have no problem disagreeing with the court when I think they're wrong, but I like to know what I'm talking about when I do that. So without looking at the particulars and knowing exactly what their rationale is, I mean, I'll defer to them for the moment.
The appeals court said, regardless of whether the challenged conduct must be knowing, intentional, or otherwise, a question we need not resolve here. It is axiomatic that dishonesty involves some conscious perversion of truth. Now, this is interesting because this is exactly the distinction, right? This is saying you're an idiot versus you want to deceive the court. Now, the way a lot of professional rules are construed, you should have known you would have been deceiving the court. Like, you're so stupid that you deceive the court by default, right? Like, that's what they're trying to get Sydney with.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's fair.
It's funny because they're like, look, you're so dumb that you put Minnesota counties in a Michigan complaint that you thought you're so dumb that you thought you would deceive a Michigan-based federal judge on what counties exist in Michigan. Because that's what they're ultimately saying. They're like, Well, if you're being dishonest, like you're trying to swindle the Michigan-based federal court judge by telling him that the Minnesota counties matter, but you're too stupid to realize those are Minnesota counties, not Michigan counties. But you're so calculating that you know that this person would fuck it up. Like, it's really a weird double standard. So I actually like the appeals court ruling here. I'm actually in agreement. I don't think Sidney Powell should be disbarred, by the way. Spokesperson for the disciplinary commission declined to comment on the ruling, so the commission had yet to determine its next steps.
There's only one left. I can tell you exactly what your next steps are. There's
you're
not a lot of options left.
Petition for cert. The commission has the option of appealing the ruling to state Supreme Court. Bob Holmes, Powell's attorney in the disciplinary matter. You know Bob Holmes is probably a cool fucking dude. Sent an email to CNN that, simply put, the trial court followed the law and the appellate court affirmed the trial court's judgment! Exclamation point. Powell has not been successful in her effort to contest sanctions that a federal court leveled against her, and another pro-Trump attorney for filing frivolous lawsuits challenging the outcome. This is another one. I hate the way the media reports attorney ethics issues, because being sanctioned by a court and overcoming a sanction by a court, the sanctions are highly discretionary within the trial court's power, because they're the ones there weighing the conduct, seeing its impact. So it's highly discretionary. And then saying, well, but they should have been disbarred. They were sanctioned. They should have been disbarred. It's like, those are two wildly different things, guys. Like, not even comparable.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what do you think? Should Sidney Powell be disbarred? What about all the Trump's attorneys? Like, let's say they all filed the worst lawsuits that you've seen. Should they be disbarred, though? Should any of them be disbarred? Like, what level of oversight do we need to disbar or bar attorneys, Kurt? This is a philosophical question more than anything.
Okay, fair enough. From a philosophical point of view, I would say that, I'd say that as officers of the court, that attorneys have an obligation to not waste the court's time and not misuse the court for non-legal purposes. And it's a place to bring valid legal complaints that are based on valid law and valid extension of law, and to zealously represent your clients within the bounds of that law. And so I think that if you do actively deceive the court, or you violate your client's confidence, or you steal the client's money, those are good reasons to potentially investigate the attorney and take some sort of action.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because, like, I hate how expensive litigation has become. I hate how scarce attorney hours are. And so you hate to see them wasted on anything approaching frivolity. But sometimes frivolity is representing the client's best interests, right? Like, there's a place to say, like, no, your client should sue because this thing is ridiculous, even if you know you're going to lose, right? Like, if your client's resourced enough to go after it. Trump, if nothing else, in 2020 illustrated the reality that it's impossible to challenge an election once the popular vote comes in. How do you do it? No one can tell you how to properly challenge the 2020 election. No one can do it. So what the fuck are we supposed to do with that other than just show, yeah, no one can tell you. And when I told that to someone the other day, and they're like, no, it's destiny. I'm like, Destiny, do you realize that there's no lawyer in the United States right now, not a single lawyer in the United States, who could tell someone how Trump could viably challenge the 2020 election, whether he had evidence or not? No one can tell you how he could write a complaint. He's like, oh, no, someone can. I said, name him. Who is it? What do you do? How do you challenge this thing? You have 35 days. That's not even enough time for normal federal court proceeding to be served. How do you do this? And
that's a real challenge.
And the media doesn't help at all with that. All right, here we go. Let's read a couple super chats. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break and then we'll continue.
Okay.
So we go.
Bad I will entertain the chat while you were gone.
I know it's been tough, but I just want to let you know something. Ancient Egyptian police used to train attack baboons to chase down fleeing criminals. Don't talk about Michelle Obama that way. Michael Trump.
Ow, why?
Wait, what did you think I was talking about? All right, Kurt, now I'm curious. There are 3 nouns in that sentence. Which one of them is Michelle Obama?
You know perfectly well from the juxtaposition.
No. I made the juxtaposition, so I know perfectly well. But not from the juxtaposition, but because I made it. Which one is it to you, Kurt? Which one of the 3 nouns? Let me remind you of the 3 nouns. Ancient Egyptian police, attack baboons, fleeing criminals. Which one of those 3 is Michelle Obama?
Oh my God.
You're the one who was disgusted by my analogy, or by my, not even analogy, my inference. What is it? What my juxtaposition? Which one is
A reasonable person could think that you're referring to any of the 3 because any of the 3 could reasonably read onto it.
But Kurt, you were appalled. So which one did you read into it?
Some of those are particularly offensive. And because a reasonable person could find some of them particularly offensive, and because your juxtaposition allows for that inference, I found it offensive.
But what offended you about it?
I don't think comparing, you know perfectly well. I'm not having this discussion.
I won't make you say it. I was obviously not talking about whatever offensive thing you were with Michelle Obama. Microsoft's image search, I don't know if you remember, with Leslie Jones, might beg to differ, but I was making the most innocent comparison. I was comparing Michelle Obama to the ancient Egyptian police. Wait, do you think I think Michelle Obama's an attack baboon?
Again, you're the one who made the comparison with the set that refers to her by the juxtaposition of the 3 elements. You're arguably comparing Michelle Obama to all 3 of them by the juxtaposition.
No, just literally the police. She was the authority, Kurt. She was the authority training the baboons.
Mm-hmm.
She pulled them. Never mind. Michael Drum says thoughts on Governor Abbott arresting the anti-Israel protesters and tweeting about how hate speech will not be tolerated. I hate that shit. Hate speech isn't real.
Hate speech is not real. That's true. I agree.
Hate speech is not even a recognized exception to the First Amendment, right?
I agree. It is not. No.
Fighting words.
Correct.
Obscenity.
Correct.
That's it. Basically, right? Fighting words and
defamation.
Oh, yeah. Defamation. There you go. And, which is
CP.
Well, that's obscenity. Even though it's, I think, just pedantically, because of how the Supreme Court describes obscenity, I think CP should be distinguished between obscenity and CP. I think we should do that because the definition of obscenity is material whose prurient interest outweighs its literary value, right? And so prurient interest means basically your compelled need to masturbate to said thing. And so when you say
it appeals to the sexual interest, the prurient interest.
Yeah, but CP doesn't appeal to sexual interests. CP appeals to perverse interests that are separate from sexual interests. So it doesn't fit into the definition of obscenity to me because, like, look, obscenity.
I unfortunately, I think it does appeal to the prurient interest of the people who dabble in such conduct.
But see, I think that a definition by the Supreme Court must necessarily be objective, right? And so prurient interest outweighing its literary contribution needs to be an objective standard. Therefore, CP, we need to go something different because CP does not appeal to the prurient interests of the average, normal, adjusted normative human. It only appeals to a perverse prurient interest that we determine to be so aberrantly dangerous that even though it may be inherent and innate, that we must remove them from society for the mere fact that these people are unsafe towards children who are vulnerable. That's a separate thing than prurient interest. Like prurient interest is like that chick getting railed is so goddamn hot. Like I can't stop looking at it. Prurient interest is not naked child. Like naked child is like that. Jared from Subway can't stop touching his foot long.
Naked child isn't necessarily CP. Those aren't necessarily the same thing.
I know, but like Jared from Subway, right? Like he can't stop touching his foot long to child porn. But a normal person who looks at child porn and goes, "Oh my fucking God," like they go into depression. They need psychological help. They can't fathom how they even came across this item. They didn't want to know that things like that existed. Where Jared Fogel's like, "Yeah, I'll take lettuce and spinach, please." Right? Like that's
yeah.
So I don't think prurient interest actually covers CP. I want them to be distinguished from obscenity. Personally.
So you don't think because so you want to do like a reasonable man test for prurient interest, and because it does not appeal to the prurient interest of the reasonable man, therefore you wouldn't say that CP is prurient within the meaning of a standard conception?
If I see someone raping a child, I'm not aroused. So it's not prurient interest to me. Like it needs
thank God for that.
Right? Like, yes. But there are people out there who are like, "Oh, I see someone raping a child. I'm so happy." Like, that's gross. That's not normative, though. That's not a prurient interest. That's a perverse interest, right? I want CP to be distinguished from obscenity because obscenity is obscene. It is nudity. It is crudity. It is sexuality for the purpose of sexuality with no literary contribution. CP, there's no amount of literary contribution that makes the rape of a child acceptable. So I don't want it categorized the same as obscenity. You know what I mean? Like there's some level of story that makes the fact that like 8 men have their penis in one woman at the same time, like acceptable, I guess, because, well, she's just trying to pursue her hopes and dreams and it was voluntary and she's 26.
I have no idea what this discussion is right now, and I'm not 100% sure I'm comfortable with this one either.
You should be the most comfortable with what I'm saying right now. Please, Kurt, for the love of all that is holy, say, "Nick, I agree with you. It is fine to find some literary value in a woman who is 26 plus years old, voluntarily having sex with 8 men. And it is never fine for a child to be raped. There's no literary value that can outdo the damage of child rape, but there's plenty of literary value that can outdo the damage of a woman making a consensual choice to have sex with 8 men. We can distinguish these two things.
I will agree that a child cannot consent to sexual acts.
This is the easiest. Kurt, oh my God. This is, if we were in softball and I set up a t-ball thing and I put a fucking pumpkin on it and I said, if you just strike the pumpkin once with your bat, you get a home run. All you have to do is like, just go this many and hit the pumpkin and that's it. This is the easiest argument on earth. I say, look, obscenity is not sufficiently tight enough to encompass all CP. CP should be banned on its own accord, not because it makes objectively reasonable people horny. Objectively reasonable people being horny is a prurient interest. And then we have to have a literary value that outweighs that. That's why, oh, brother, step bro, I'm stuck in the laundry again. Will you put your dick in my ass and pull me out of it? That's an acceptable plot line. That's enough literary value to overcome the lunacy of the situation. For CP, I don't want a literary value to overcome the situation. I want CP to be banned because CP should be banned and people who create it should be castrated via nuclear weaponry.
I'll agree to that.
Thank God. I hate the internet sometimes. All right. La Fembricata. God damn it. That was my nickname at Circuit City. Welcome to Paralegal Status. Slosher says we have more cop TV shows than Italians. Why don't we have a cop TV show with baboons and ancient? Because Michelle Obama was very busy being first lady, you asshole. But maybe if you propose it now with a Netflix special, you'll get there. All right. Here we go. Kurt, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You can entertain the chat for just a minute.
Okay.
Let me do this 25-second Rumble only transition. Guys, we're moving to Rumble exclusively. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Please follow the link in the pinned chat or in the description on YouTube. If you're not going to follow us because you're gay, click like on the way out. If you are going to follow us because you're gay, click like on the way in. And we'll say with every click that you do. On Rumble, by the way, click that thumbs up as well. And we'll do this 25 seconds. Will be Rumble exclusive. Then Kurt will entertain you for a little bit, and I'll be back. And we're going to talk about some deep Second Amendment law coming up real soon. See you guys in just a second.